So today we're going to find out how Fnatic destroyed 100 Thieves, and we are going to take a look at both maps today, because some of the rounds that Fnatic had were kind of unbelievable. And of course, I have to start here at round number 4 and this initial idea here by Fnatic, because this is just absurd, right? So we're just going to play it. It happens right at the start of this round. We see we got Leo with a C's line up here. He's going to throw it. What we're going to get is breach stun down here from Fnatic, right? So if someone's by this door and the door has just opened, so obviously this breach stun is probably going to push you back into the C's, and then once you're in the C's, well, guess what's coming next? The good old Brim ult. Cryo just accepts his fate, has to die right there, and it's a wonderful start for Fnatic. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. So they come into A main and start to take this space, and they're going to go for their A exec. And I think that, honestly, Fnatic played an insane game here on Fracture, but if there was one thing that I think, like, you know, they could improve, it's probably their A take, to be honest, because what you're going to see is they like to, you know, come like heavy pressure on Sense, and that's what we're going to see here. And it's like little pressure here, big pressure towards Sense, but it takes them so long to clear the site or, you know, worry about what's going on this A site that these smokes start to fade, and they almost lose a 1v4 here because of it, right? And honestly, they probably should have lost this round had Asuna not clicked scroll wheel, as you'll see here in just a second. So they come in towards Sands, right? We get Durka up here, and you see that they're all kind of, you know, focused on what's around this corner, and that's perfectly fine. But in come 100 Thieves, obviously no one, as we can see, is on the site. Fnatic don't know that. They flash, they get this first kill, and if Asuna doesn't jump here, you know, he probably kills Chronicle. And unfortunately for him, the consequence is the Chronicle turns around and gets 2 kills, right? So if he dies there, Chronicle, that's the spike on the middle of the site. Yeah, they might easily lose this round as Chronicle turns, you know, what should have been his death into 2 kills. And we end up in a 4v2. And this 4v2 is actually going to become a 4v1 once these smokes start to fade. But you still see, right, we're still very concerned about what's going on the site. You know, basically all of Fnatic are kind of, you know, looking towards that way. And, you know, this could have cost them this round still, right? Ultimately, when this smoke does fade, Alfia is going to take off Bang's head, but you see Chronicle looking the wrong way there. Alfia, you know, now turns, but Stella managed to get another one. All of a sudden, it's a 1v2. And, you know, yeah, I think that this was kind of the one little thing that Fnatic, it wasn't perfect for, right? So they're going to wait for their Fade Haunt here, throw it out. We end up in a 2v1. But Stella's going to do pretty well to try and, you know, find one of these fights on its own. So out comes the Fade Haunt from Leo. Obviously, it's not going to see anything. As Stella, it doesn't even know, you know, he knows where the Fade is probably at this point, but he doesn't know where Boaster is, right? So he's still, you know, considering all the different options here, but he finds a good time to just get that swing there. We end up in a 1v1, but obviously he is on 8 HP here, and so Boaster just has to hit one shot, and he does. And Fnatic do manage to win this round, and obviously it started great, but you still see that, like, this was perhaps the only one thing I would say for Fnatic on this Fracture game was, you know, their A take was maybe a little too slow in clearing the site. Now let's actually come to round number 13, the defensive pistol. Fnatic are up 11-1. They'd actually destroyed this map, but we've seen a lot of teams, I think, on this defensive side get exposed on Fracture now that there is no chamber here to play on this map. A lot of teams, it seems, just don't know what to do on Fracture, but you're going to see that Fnatic definitely understand the map, because on Fracture, when you're playing defense side on Fracture, you gotta be willing to like aggressively hold space, right? And so you're gonna see we've got a Lombard up here. They're gonna come and put a turret there. These three are gonna fight for this space, but also, you know, Durka, he's going to have the confidence to be like, yeah, well, you know, I can kind of hold this on my own, you know, no worries, right? And that's going to put them in a really good spot for this round as 100 Thieves, you know, start to come in towards A main. The turret's going to go off. We're going to stun off it, right? And then we're going to try and swing out. Okay, 100 Thieves do manage to get back out. They destroy the cam. But what you're going to see here is we're going to go for kind of a second round here after 100 Thieves just quickly come back to Durka for a second. But you see that Durka, right, he's just holding this space in a second just here, right? He's confident to be here on his own, just checking. Sees one, of course, and then he's going to actually do the same thing. Sees another. And so 100 Thieves decide, okay, let's come back towards A then. They might be rotating across, but no, Fnatic holding steadfast in what they're doing. And again, we've got kind of the same setup, but just off a flash here. As soon as the turret goes off, you know, we're going to flash this wall here, swing out. They managed to get the first kill here, but now what's going to happen is 100 Thieves are going to come from the north side as well. The alarm bot's going to go off, right? And this is rule number 1 of defense side Fracture, is don't get pinched. That is rule number 1 of defense side fracture. So if you're here aggressively defending A main, you know, Boaster's going to give them a call like, hey, the alarm bot went off, and I think he's going to even maybe, you know, catch a brief glimpse of them coming across here. Is, you know, if you just stay here for too long, you can get pinched, right? This can be a pinch where you know, you just die here. And so Fnatic understand this, right? And so they understand, well, let's just fight out, right? Fight out of the pinch. And you'll see that ultimately that is what comes to fruition here is, you know, look, they're starting to go forward. As soon as that alarm bot goes off, you know, they understand we've got to go forward. And this is something that, you know, you might expect, hey, Fracture's been out for, you know, 2 years now. You know, people would know this. A lot of teams don't. It seems a lot of teams don't because they get pinched very often on this defense side and often die and often lose rounds because of it. So we end up in a 4v2, you know, with the spike out here as well. Obviously a really good, you know, place for Fnatic. And yeah, from here they're just going to mop up, obviously, as 100 Thieves with no time, no spike, smoked off. You know, they give it their best go, but ultimately just that they're going to die. And Fnatic, I mean, this was just a pretty insane fracture overall. And yeah, they just absolutely destroyed 100 Thieves on their map pick. Now let's head on over to Icebox, and this round is one of like the craziest things I think I've seen in a pro game. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before, but it's kind of wild as it happens. So 100 Thieves, they're on the attack side here. It's already 6-1 Fnatic, and you know, at this point we're all getting worried that, oh my god, this is just, they're just getting absolutely destroyed. And we get the early drone out here, right? And this is the level that Fnatic, you know, that they're at now, where it's, you know, where's the common drone position? I've got a snakebite lineup for it, right? So snakebite goes off so that, you know, the drone gets destroyed there. The Sova has to come out of the drone, so you don't get a full drone. Whilst that's going on, though, we've got Durka and Chronicle here. They've already fully pushed up A, right? And as they start to come on this flank and 100 Thieves start to push down towards B, they actually recall their turrets, so, you know, they can get even further across here, these two players. You know, they start to get close, and Fnatic obviously start to, you know, get what's going on. Leo's shock darts are just of a different breed. He literally hits these players with this shock dart and does just an absolute ton of damage there to those two. But whilst that's going on, now Chronicle is going to get revealed by this alarm bot, right? So he gets revealed, and he thinks about, okay, well, you know, they know I'm here now, but, you know, I'm in a good spot. But then he comes up with this idea of, wait a minute, what if I just wall them in, right? So he literally puts his Sage Wall there, literally traps them into the B site, like forces them to play B without just coming back and destroying this wall. Insane stuff. Whilst that's going on, Durka is actually updrafted onto the tube, and he's about to come and updraft again to, you know, knowing that they have to be here. They literally have to be because they've been walled in. And he's going to manage to get a kill off that. I mean, some insane stuff is going on here. They drone at the same time while Sturka's doing this. Then they pop a Viper's Pit, right? Knowing that, hey, these guys have to be at B now. Let's put a pit down as well. So that forces 100 Thieves now to go and, you know, go to the deep site and try and, you know, push through the smoke here, which they do. And yeah, it you know, it doesn't go the worst ever. They do get a trade just there. But, you know, Fnatic are still on top of it. And they are just going to end up winning this round. And this was just like, at this point, it was just like, oh my god. Fnatic are playing so well, 100 Thieves just have no chance. Right? They're literally getting walled in to going B. But actually then, in the second half, 100 Thieves started to, you know, make a big comeback. And to be honest, Fnatic looked a bit lost on this attacking side. It was like they just didn't know really what to do. And a big part of this, actually, we can see straight away in the setup. So, Boaster, in a lot of this attacking half, not always, but a lot of the time, was not using the Viper Orb in mid, right? So normally, in pretty much every pro game, you see just the Viper Orb here in mid, right? Block off the line of sight. Hey, we could be doing this. Hey, we could be doing that. You don't know, right? Like, pretty much everyone does this. But Boaster instead, you know, was going for kind of deeper orbs here on B, or this one over here on A, right? And trying to add to the kind of exec on A or B. But 100 Thieves were just exploiting that, right? Because there's no Killjoy setup. I mean, they do actually put an alarm bot here in this round, 100 Thieves, but in some of them, they were literally putting nothing. They were just like, well, Derek can just see, right? There's nothing blocking Derek's line of sight, so he'll just see if you come mid, right? And so they were allowed to put the Killjoy setup, you know, on A or B or wherever they wanted, and they didn't have to waste it on mid. And this was kind of a big problem for Fnatic, I think. And it was a good adaptation by 100 Thieves, you know, to kind of realize that and just take advantage of that. because it paid a lot of, it gave them a lot of success, right? It allowed them to, hey, have Killjoy set up A, and we can play really heavy B, and we trust our A retake, right? And it was really good. And you end up in, I mean, again, Durka here, you're going to see the start of this round. It's just like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy stuff. Like, it just felt like Fnatic were just grasping at straws. And this is like one of the rounds of all time that was played in Valorant, the way that this one ends. We actually get the Sage Wall out here on B as well from 100 Thieves, as Fnatic, it did seem want to come towards this B site. And you'll see in just a second, a drone is going to come out towards Durka, and he decides to just do this. And he's probably pretty lucky actually managed to live. He then does escape his, hit of the Silver Ult. But everyone else on Fnatic absolutely gets destroyed by the Silver Ult. Look at the HP. Everyone but Boaster gets absolutely smacked by it. And so they end up with, like, no HP on their team either. And so it's really kind of weird, and they get pushed back from this B site, and, eventually they decide to come back as the one-way's up and all of that. So they decide instead to pivot back towards A, and they're going to manage to make this work. Leo's going to go hero mode in this one. We're going to see the shorty. But here's another thing, right? Boaster in this round decides, okay, yeah, I will put the Viper Orb in mid. But again, as soon as you see that Viper Orb in mid, it was kind of a clue like, hey, someone's going mid because they put the orb there. Normally they weren't putting the orb there. So, as soon as this orb goes down, hey, someone's going mid, right? And so you can see 100 Thieves straight away. They know, right? And they kind of know what's going on instantly. And, Boaster does manage to win this fight against Cryo, which kind of, helped Fnatic here, but he is going to get traded by Asuna just there, and they have the res here. So we end up in a 4v5 again, and, I mean, they're running into this Killjoy setup. 100 Thieves, know what they're doing at this point, and it just felt like Fnatic would, panic at this point. There's 15 seconds left. Chronicle's on such low HP that, a shock dart will kill him. He almost runs into that one. He eventually actually will get killed by a shock dart. Durka manages to get a kill with the shorty just there. Derek gets the kill on Chronicle with a shock dart, so there's 8 seconds left at this point. They have to go and plant the spike, but Leo's going to go hero mode. He's down here on this Sova, and he's going to manage to not just get 1 kill, but get 2 kills. And yeah, that really saves the round there for Fnatic, because it allows them to get into a 2v2 and get the spike down here with Durka. And well, after he plants the spike, this real time looks like Durka kills him with the shorty again. Actually, Alfia is going to kill him from back there, so don't worry, this one wasn't a shorty kill, but this next one was. As he's trying to reload the shorty there, he does manage to win the game for Fnatic. And yeah, they played a flawless map and a half. The second half, they got maybe a little bit lost. 100 Thieves are starting to gain confidence. I think the second half of this game kind of showed, like, how big psychology can play in, a game like Valorant, because Fnatic were absolutely destroying them, but when they started to lose a couple of rounds, they kind of got, kind of became very shaky very fast, but they ultimately gave themselves enough chances to where they would be able to win this game.